All right, welcome back to Cricket for Americans. Nick here, and I really appreciate you clicking on this video. While we're talking about clicking, go ahead and hit that like button as well, right below my goofy looking face, and go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you have not done so yet. If you're new to this Bodyline series reaction, which I don't think you are, but if you are, I've reacted to 13 other parts before we got to this part itself, doing about 20-minute increments. And loving it. Absolutely loving it. It's been a week since I reacted to the last one, and it's time to continue on with the drama. Continue on with the story and this mini docuseries from the 1980s chronicling the 1933 Ashes in Australia. And last where we left off, Bodyline took a turn for the worst right in the noggin before the days of the helmet. Player had to be taken up the field. I'm assuming rushed to the hospital. The fans lost their mind. They had to, the English players, one guy got one of the stumps out, and they were kind of huddled back to back in protective mode. It was pretty interesting. One of the comments said that they were kind of felt embarrassed for how the Australia fans acted. I kind of don't blame them. Okay, I'm not saying go out there and start busting some heads, but I kind of don't blame them. It was an ugly situation. Enough was enough, and we're going to see how the reaction is here in this part. I'm not going to waste any more time. Thanks again for watching my reaction to this. Check out the other ones. And with all that being said, let's go ahead and check this out now.
He was a bloody tail ender. The boy's still here. We better have a talk.
Mr. Ponsford.
Oh yeah, they put the flag too.
As a memento.
Thanks, mate.
I've been thinking about the future. I don't know about you blokes, but it can't go on like this.
Bloody oath.
Whatever it was that happened out there today, I'm sure of one thing, it wasn't cricket. It's a funny thing, my dad always wanted me to play cricket because he thought it was a game for gentlemen. Must be breaking his heart.
I'm no squib, mate. I can take a few knocks. But there's a time when courage becomes stupidity.
So no.
What are you saying then, Woody?
I'm saying it's my responsibility what's happened to you blokes. I'm the captain. It's the captain's job to ensure the welfare of his team. I've led you into this.
There's nothing anyone could have done.
Well, I've made my decision. I'm going to the control board. Unless they can get an assurance from the English that we've seen the last of Bodyline. And I intend to resign as captain.
Wow.
No, Skipper. The Australian team. You tell those weak bastards the Australian team's resigned.
Here, Vic.
Yeah, Vic. There you go.
Bill, you're making
Donnie.
a mountain out of a mole. But you gentlemen were there. You must have been as disgusted
These
as I
guys
was
are
at the
spineless.
Closest thing to a riot I've ever seen.
I didn't mean in the stands, I meant on the pitch.
Oh, yes, certainly Jardine went too far.
The point is, what are you going to do about it?
In view of the fact we're down 2-1, it's a difficult situation. Now, we don't want to be accused of squealing. Look, in my understanding of it, there's nothing in the rules to stop you giving it back to the bastards.
That's not the solution, Aubrey. Now, what we propose is a meeting with Pelham Warner. We'll make it very clear to him the damage that's being done to cricket itself.
And you know how strongly Plum feels about tradition.
We are sure Plum will bring pressure to bear. It seems the best course. Don't you agree?
It's a start.
Will you tell the boys that we have it in hand?
Do you? Are you going to do something with yourselves?
Let's keep this to ourselves, shall we?
I think the time for that's past, don't you?
They really make these guys on the cricketing
A
board
little more reasonable
the
than I
villains.
imagined.
Don't underestimate him. It worries me that he won't retaliate. I think we're dealing with a man of principle, and in my opinion, they are very stubborn men.
We've done everything we can. I mean, no one can hold us responsible for
everyone's
the
like
English
you.
team. It's up to them, huh?
They don't care. Only thing he mentioned was the record, and what the record is now.
Mr. Warner.
Don't care. Did he really just give him the shaft, or did I miss something there?
Thank you very much.
dare you? I'm trying to drink here, homie.
I have no intention of contributing to your scurrilous stories.
Oh, you mean yesterday's piece? The only way I'm here about today is wondering what you're going to say to the Board of Control. You are going to the meeting.
What meeting?
The meeting the board have asked Mr. Warner to attend. A double Irish whiskey, thanks, no ice, and a glass of water.
I haven't been asked to attend any meeting.
Haven't you received a telegram?
Yeah.
This must be it then.
This must be it then. I love this reporter.
No comment.
It's a terrible thing.
Mr. Jardine has driven us all into a corner. Our own captain says it can't go on.
I feel very deeply for the Australian team, if that's any consolation.
What we need, Plum, is an assurance that
Drinks like a
Douglas will
fish.
moderate his tactics.
I wish it were otherwise, but that just isn't possible.
All we want is a return to more conventional play.
My dear fellow, I couldn't agree with you more, but the MCC captain has always dictated tactics.
Surely the team manager has a great influence.
Well, in normal circumstances, yes.
But
Bloody
I
Jardine.
do not.
All I can say is, I'll speak to you.
Thank you, Plum.
You better, homie.
Let me assure you, on behalf of us all, that none of this reflects on you.
If you don't mind a word of advice from an old hand, I'd be looking at other avenues.
Yeah. You've got to do something about
Ask
it.
me for a reassurance that you modify your tactics.
You have no right to discuss our tactics with the Australians.
There's no need to raise your voice with me. I'm just reporting what they want.
Well, you seem to be prosecuting it with unusual vigor.
My dear chap, I have made my position perfectly clear. I've tried to counsel you, I've asked you, and you've just thrown it back in my face. No surprise to me that the Australians want it stopped. And I must say I agree with them.
Whatever your personal feelings, you are the MCC manager. Need I explain to you where your loyalty lies?
How dare you? My loyalty's not in doubt.
So that must settle it.
What do you mean?
Well, since your loyalty is not in doubt, then you can go to the board on behalf of us all. Tell them that the MCC will use whatever tactics are best suited to winning the Ashes.
Douglas,
Thank you, Plum.
This guy. You got to give him with his resolve and his, like, annoying consistency and persistence. He does not back down. He is obsessed. And he's not going
If
to
you
back
don't
down.
mind me asking, is there any suggestion you can make, confidentially?
my dear chap, I think you should do what your conscience dictates.
Seriously.
If you wish to pursue the matter, you'll have to take it higher up.
He's done what what he could. And I respect Plum for
Warner
that.
recommends we take it to the Lords.
You have
Stupid
no...
idea. The last thing we want's an official brawl. God knows where that'd end.
Maybe so, but Woodfull's not going to be
Woodfull
satisfied.
doesn't.
He will demand...
Spineless.
Something.
The players don't run Australian cricket. The board does.
Nevertheless, we must keep...
There it
faith
is.
with
There
the
it
team.
is. That is the statement right
Wise
there
to
that's
take it
running
as
these
far as we
guys.
can.
Control.
Business to protect. We can't jeopardize the series. We'd be thousands of pounds in the hole. And you know where that'd leave Australian cricket? Down the dummy.
Nobody's jeopardizing the
Money.
series.
Control and
I
power.
suggest...
And a lot of alcohol,
Cable
apparently.
to the Lords.
Oh, saying what? Your captain's a cheat. I can see them accepting that. They'd have to support Jardine.
Just a minute.
We'll draft a cable. A very strong cable.
Alan.
Hear me out. And we'll show it to Woodfull. Get him to agree to the wording. Change it if he likes. And we'll ask him to sign it.
Son.
Alan, that's brilliant. A protest goes to Lords, but it's unofficial. Talk about having your cake and eating it too. But let's push it. Not just Woodfull.
Come on,
Get
Bill.
Bradman to sign it as well, on behalf of the entire team.
Boulder bouncer. Hit a boundary.
But Plum, he
As you
has
suspected,
no allegiance to
not much
Australia
luck
cricket at all.
with
He's trying to protect the spirit of the game and all that stuff. So I
Plum
do
himself suggested we go above
respect
his head.
him.
Did he?
As good as. So, we've drafted a cable to the MCC Lords. Read it. See what you think.
These guys came up with actually a pretty decent idea.
That's good stuff.
Unsportsmanlike.
You think that's a bit strong?
No, it's hit the nail right on the head.
You think it's a bit
Point about
strong?
relations between the two countries. It's important to
But
stress.
you don't live in
It's gone beyond
2022,
cricket.
homie.
Anything you think we've missed?
What about something concerning the danger to players?
Yes. Well, how's about causing intensely bitter feeling between the players as well as injury? Don?
Fine by me.
Anything else? So you'd be happy to sign that?
I should have known. Nobody grows a backbone overnight.
That's insulting.
That makes it 15-all.
I warned you months ago about this and you chose to ignore it. Now you want us to fight your battles. No, you can forget that.
If you don't back the team now, you won't have a team.
Are you threatening the board?
No, I'm telling you that I'm
Tell what's gonna
prepared to
happen.
resign as captain.
Humiliate or humble yourself.
Oh, I see. We've been caucusing, have we?
Call it what you like, but cricket in Australia will have 3 chiefs, no bloody Indians.
We'll have to consider this.
No. Outside, there are a group of reporters. Either you go out, read that cable as your response, or I go out and tell them that we've been sold down the river. It's your choice.
The board will not be dictated to.
Control.
I think we all know who'll get the support of the Australian people.
Our names are not going on that cable.
Now, hold on, Aubrey. Obviously, Bill and Don feel very strongly about this.
Bugger that. We're not putting the tour at risk. There'd be an uproar if we accused them of being unsportsmanlike. We're not sending that as it stands.
There'll be an even bigger uproar if the team resigns. The players haven't given us much choice.
You've got a quorum. Put it to the vote.
Thank you for the suggestion. As chairman, I say we deal with it. We send it.
About time you'd make a decision, you goof.
I agree. Send it.
They wanted to put just the players' names on it.
Aubrey?
And not theirs.
I want it recorded in the minutes. I
Weak sauce.
strongly object to the sending of that cable.
Bodyline bowling has assumed such proportions as to menace the best interests of the game,
Hallelujah, we're saved, brothers.
making protection of the body by the batsman
best.
the main consideration. This is causing intensely bitter feeling between the players as well as injury.
Guy's awesome.
In our opinion, it is...
Schweppes.
As well as injury. In our opinion, it is unsportsmanlike.
Unsportsmanlike?
Oh no.
Who do they think they are?
The long room.
In our opinion, unless stopped at once, it is likely to upset the friendly relations existing between Australia and England. Signed, Australian Border Control. Well, you can see I wasn't overstating it when I said it was something of a crisis.
Fire straight back. Tell them we deplore their cable.
Let's raise the stakes. They're talking about friendly relations between the two countries. Well, if it's that bad, why not suggest cancelling the tour?
That is kibosh. They've always got their noses in the ledger.
You don't agree?
Oh, no, I agree. That's fine for the cable, but I was thinking we might open up a second front. Thought we might enlist the help of the palace. Well, after all, as we've said, it does affect relations between the two nations. His Majesty's private secretary, Sir Clive Wigram, is a good friend of cricket.
Oh, you're quite right. It's gone beyond a game.
Did he just go to Daddy?
But there's talk out there of them boycotting English goods.
Surely not.
It is, and the wharf labourers are refusing to unload British ships. A bit hysterical, if you ask me, but then I've never understood the mob.
I thought you'd be interested, Sir Clive. We've drafted a reply to their cable, objecting to the word unsportsmanlike.
I should say so.
We've offered to cancel the rest of the tour.
Oh, my.
Call it off. Strong as that, eh?
Only if they think it's necessary. I'm sure they won't. Well, naturally, it's not what we want.
Well, I'm pleased to hear that. Well, what are you looking for?
We want the Australians to back down completely. I was hoping would it be possible for one of our people to approach the Australian government, make it clear to them how serious it would be at a government level if the cricketing ties between our two countries were severed?
Flex a muscle, eh? Well, we can speak to Ernest Crutchley, head of the British mission.
Excellent. If you do that, we'll send the cable.
Good afternoon, Ernest.
Prime Minister, good of you to see me at short notice.
My pleasure.
After all, there are not many places where an Englishman would be welcome these days.
Sit down, Ernest.
I take it, sir, you've seen the Australian Board's cable to the MCC.
Yes, I've just received a copy of the MCC's reply.
It seems the entire tour is now under threat.
As I understand it,
The Diplomats episode.
Quite right, Prime Minister, but of course only in response to a fairly belligerent initiative from the Australian Board.
I'm not sure I'd describe unsportsmanlike as belligerent. Most Australians would call it accurate.
I understand your position, sir. But the MCC has said any decision to cancel rests with the home side. In their cable, they say they would consent only with great reluctance.
Certainly be a great shame after all these years of healthy rivalry and wonderful cricket.
Exactly the sentiments of His Majesty's government. As I see it, the problem is this. Given that the MCC has thrown the ball back into the Australian court, the board may feel obliged to respond by abandoning the series.
What's wrong with the MCC withdrawing its cable?
Oh, I don't think that's possible. Not without the board also withdrawing theirs.
Sounds a wonderful idea. We could start from scratch.
There is another proposal. Cancelling the series would obviously affect relations between Australia and England. In such circumstances, the Prime Minister could prevail upon the board to ensure that the tour continues.
I could. It's true.
Everybody wants the Ashes to not be cancelled.
I could also ask His Majesty's government to see if Mr. Jardine won't temper his approach.
Why, I'd be happy to. I'll do whatever I can.
Oh, I'm sure you will, homie.
We have fullest confidence in captain, team, and manager. We have no evidence that our confidence has been misplaced. We hope the situation is not now as serious as your cable would seem to indicate, but if you consider it desirable to cancel remainder of program, we would consent, but with great reluctance.
Out of bloody control. I said it.
He's mentioned control like 3 or 4 times.
End in a brawl.
Aubrey, there's no mileage in that. We're in it now. We've got to deal with it.
No choice. We've got to back down. The tour must go ahead.
Tour's never been cancelled. Not in the history of cricket. I'm not convinced we should
Not
rush
in the
in.
history of cricket.
We have commitments, contractual commitments. 2/3 of our income's from Test cricket.
It'd be pretty humiliating for them if their team was sent packing.
He's worried about the income. I hope he's not just worried about his own income, but like the entire cricket income.
The future of the tour open. Jesus, mate. They might meet us halfway, get Jardine to make some concession.
Alan, you're pissing in the wind. Read this cable. We have the fullest confidence in captain, team, and manager. We are convinced they would do nothing to infringe either the laws of cricket or the spirit.
Phone call, Dr. Robertson.
I said no interruptions.
It's the Prime Minister, sir.
Oh, snap. You're not going to relinquish control to him?
Robertson, Prime Minister?
Ah, Alan. Sorry to worry you. I'm sure you've got enough on your plate.
Not at all, sir.
No doubt you know why I'm calling. I've just seen the MCC's cable.
We were just considering it now.
I know you're in a difficult position. The government believes that any cancellation of the tour could have serious consequences.
I understand, Prime Minister.
There are larger issues at stake. For a start, the relationship between Australia and the mother country.
Certainly, sir. The board wouldn't wish to do anything that might embarrass the government.
Good. If it's any help, I've asked His Majesty's government to see if they can influence Mr. Jardine.
Thank you, sir. Very decent of you.
Not at all. Let's hope it has some effect.
Not at all.
We'll leave with that then, shall we?
Yes, Prime Minister. Thank you. Goodbye.
That's it then. I'll draft a reply.
Tell them we don't consider it necessary to cancel.
Oh, you think so, huh? Just go with that all by yourself?
Douglas, a word, please.
Plum, yes, go ahead.
In private, if you would.
Well, I'm sure Gubby and Bob will keep a confidence.
Very well. I warn you, you might find it embarrassing.
Please, sit down.
He's super
I've just had
sensitive.
a call from Ernest Crutchley, head of the British mission.
Yes?
He tells me the Australians are going to back down. The series will be resumed.
Wonderful. Well done.
And he has asked that you temper your approach.
Oh, has he now? And is Mr. Crutchley conversant with the laws of cricket?
My dear fellow, he is a representative of His Majesty's government. You can't dismiss him as easily as you do me.
And this is an official approach on behalf of the government?
Not exactly. It's the result of discussions with the Australian Prime Minister.
Ah, so he has approached you at the behest of the Australians.
How can you say
Jardine's got
so
stones.
The man is concerned with international relations,
Absolute
with
stones.
the image of our country abroad.
How can you be so gullible? The Australians are trying everything. They were so certain of victory, now faced with defeat, they cry foul.
For the last time, you are being asked to stop.
That's interesting
Last
approach.
time, no.
Or interesting
In that
perspective.
case, I order you.
On whose authority?
What can you do?
Mr. Warner won't be joining us.
I had never considered that. I will admit, I'm one of the first guys.
You'll see the tragedy of this. Everything that our country cherishes is being destroyed. Honor, duty,
Gosh, he's
cricket
heartbroken.
itself. Well, whatever happens, old boy, it's on your head. I wash my hands of it. I'm sorry. I've lost my appetite.
Oh, snap. I'm one of those fans who start getting mad at the other situations and they're just whining about this or that.
Control appreciate your difficulty
Interesting
in dealing
perspective.
with the matter raised in our cable without having seen the actual play. We unanimously regard bodyline bowling as adopted in some games of the
No. Man, that was quick. All right, not one of my favorite episodes just because it was so diplomatic and political and this or that. But I do appreciate how the series went there because, you know, this was something that was talked about between Prime Minister, Majesty's representative, cricket board, all this kind of stuff. And it was something that was taken very seriously to a certain degree. Interesting how both sides, we can't stop the tour, you know. And for me, I feel like they used the relations as a scapegoat upon the main matter of don't want to lose the Ashes. And we don't want to lose the money that the Ashes brings in. Australia, so far, is losing the Ashes. They don't want to lose that potential money. England's leading the Ashes in Australia. They don't want to lose that lead. So no one wants to cancel the Ashes. And I find that hilarious. But Jardine's perspective, I can kind of understand it. He spoke a language I understand because, you know, you're just whining because we're beating you. And if we weren't beating you, then you wouldn't complain as much. It's not as simple as that. You've been going after him, and I mean, you can only take it so long, right? It's like what Popeye said. And then the guy gets it in the head. I mean, that's it. Now, I'm interested with the players because they said they were going to resign regardless of what the other people say. I'm curious what their reaction is. We're going to have to find out my reaction to their reaction in the next episode. Hopefully it won't be longer than that. Thank you so much for watching this one. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I think there's only a few left. I really do. It's crazy. I've said that before too. But with all that being said, thanks again for watching. And until next time, adios.